Hello and welcome to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. If you're jumping straight into the game for the first time right now, maybe you haven't played much since World's launch and just want to know what new attacks are added to your favorite weapon, or perhaps you have a friend or two you're trying to bring into the series for the first time and need something concise to send their way, well, this should hopefully be helpful to all the above. My goal with this video is to assist you all in figuring out which of the 14 weapon types in Monster Hunter World fit your own unique playstyle the best, while also explaining the new moves each weapon has gained from the Iceborne expansion. Before we dive in, I want to preface that all weapons in Iceborne can now use your slinger and clutch claw with your weapon drawn, which opens up some brand new opportunities with each, and I wanted to cover that right here, simply to not have to mention this feature for every weapon, but some do benefit more from this than others, which I will be covering if it's noteworthy. Now let's finally break out of this intro and get to the real fun stuff, showcasing all of the 14 weapon classes available in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. The Greatsword. The Greatsword is the hardest hitting single attack weapon in Monster Hunter World, but also the slowest. But that shouldn't really be a surprise because look at the darn thing. The Greatsword's moveset has a variety of vertical and horizontal attacks that are useful in certain situations, but your primary objective as a Greatsword user is to really know the attack patterns of the monster you're fighting to set up for the devastating True Charge Slash. This allows you to charge up your sword and if timed correctly, can unleash some truly staggering damage numbers. Just make sure not to miss. The Greatsword is not entirely just charging up strikes and crossing your fingers, however. The tackle move can interrupt your own charges, which can power through many monsters' attacks, allowing you to continue your onslaught uninterrupted. While it used to be quite the commitment to get to the third stage of your charge slash, some new additions to Iceborne make this attack all the more deadly. You can now fire a slinger burst with your weapon drawn, which is decent at staggering a monster, but more importantly, you can now shortcut straight out of this into a true charge slash. Also new to Iceborne, when landing the first hit of this two-part final attack, the Greatsword's ending slash will be a powered-up version of itself compared to the vanilla version when missing with that first hit. The brutally devastating singular strikes, along with the huge buff to its most powerful attack, makes the Greatsword a weapon with a fairly high skill ceiling that rewards experienced hunters that have the most knowledge on what they are up against. The Gunlance. The Gunlance not only plays somewhat similar to a traditional tank class in an RPG, you know, with its big slow shield and all, but also just like a real tank thanks to its powerful shelling abilities. In between your standard combo strikes, you can shell the monster by expending this ammo, or set up for the powerful finishing burst fire attack to unleash the entire payload all at once. If this isn't quite enough damage output for you, the stationary charged Wyvern's Fire will make short work of slower or immobilized monsters. Iceborne provides the Gunlance with a brand new tool of destruction, however, the Boomstick ammo. This will load the entirety of your slinger ammo into your Gunlance, which will allow you to attach a large mine onto the monster, which can then trigger a worm blast by hitting it with any shelling attacks. If you place this on an odd location on the monster, you might find it somewhat difficult to trigger this blast, so aim carefully. The Gunlance can be tricky to wield at first with its fairly slow mobility, but once you figure out how to stay right up under your target, you will find this tank-style weapon to be just as offensive as it is defensive. The Charge Blade. The Charge Blade was an absolute beast already in vanilla Monster Hunter World, but with some improvements brought to Iceborne, it now fringes on ludicrous levels of powerful. The basic fundamentals of this weapon are charging up your files while in sword and shield mode, to power up your attacks while in the hard-hitting axe mode. Your primary goal as a Charge Blade user is to funnel your charge files into your axe and shield to then be able to pull off the very strong, super amped elemental discharge. If you do this without your shield charged, the attack will still function, but will be severely lacking in damage, turning this into a three-part process to perform effectively: charge up your files while in sword mode, transfer those charges into your shield, and then unleash your next charged files while in axe mode. If you don't periodically funnel your charged files into your weapon, your sword will overheat and deflect right off monsters, which can become a beginner's trap if you don't understand the file charging mechanic. Just keep that in mind. Iceborne now allows you to use your Slinger Burst mid-combo, which gives you access to some new shortcuts to some attacks, but most importantly, an alternate way to access your super amped element discharge. Also new to Iceborne is the inclusion of the powered axe mode, which is accessed from the new Savage Axe Slash attack. This spins up the blade of the axe and temporarily boosts all damage while in axe mode, which gives the axe's standard attacks far more practical overall use. This important change brings this trick-style weapon full circle now by providing a huge range of playstyles to choose from in just one single weapon, which makes it intimidatingly powerful in the right hands. The light bowgun. The light bowgun is a fast and agile ranged weapon with a wide variety of bullet types that can deal raw damage, lay down artillery fire, inflict status ailments, and even buff or heal other hunters. This ammo can be switched out mid-battle, which allows you to adapt to nearly every situation, but the most powerful ones do have a limited number of uses, so use them wisely. Other than the concept of simply pointing and shooting at what you want dead, is management of the powerful Wyvern Blast ammo you accumulate over time. These will allow you to lodge powerful mines into the ground, which can be detonated by the monster's proximity, or by you triggering them with your own shots at them. Some new mods for your bowgun in Iceborne allow you to choose from the Evading Reload or Wyvern Blast counter mod. The Evading Reload does exactly what it says, and reloads some of your bullets every time you perform an evade, straightforward but helpful for offensive players. The Wyvern Blast counter mod is somewhat similar to the standard Wyvern Blast mines, but shoots itself slightly forward through the air, which encourages you to play a little closer up and more aggressively. The light bowgun will be most effective for hunters who are willing to utilize the broad range of bullet types, and once mastered, gives you great opportunities to dish out damage, inflict ailments, and provide support all at once. The hunting horn. The hunting horn is an initially daunting weapon that allows you to attack while simultaneously queuing up music notes in order to play songs that buff up the entire hunting party, while also laying down some quite impressive damage numbers. Every horn is a little different with a variety of songs available that can provide healing, improve defenses, block status effects, and many other useful improvements. These songs can be extended and boosted to increase their effects, or stocked up all at once to play them in one large instrumental. You don't need to memorize a staggering list of songs, however, and once you pin down your favorite hunting horns, pulling off these songs while attacking will quickly become second nature to you. An addition for Iceborne brings in an entirely new note called the Echo Wave. This spins your horn on the ground while dealing a decent amount of damage, which looks quite awesome, and allows for brand new songs to be played exclusive to this added note. The hunting horn can admittedly be awkward at first, but as soon as you start to groove with the flowing style of this weapon, you will find its damage potential and support abilities to make every group of hunters glad to have you on their team. The dual blades. The dual blades are the fastest and most agile weapons in Monster Hunter that can dish out a hefty amount of multi-hit damage. While the standard moveset has a good variety of easy-to-land slash attacks, the real fun of the dual blades comes from managing your demon and archdemon mode effectively. While you're in this state, your stamina will begin to deplete, but you gain access to a much more powerful and also more elaborate moveset. Your normal evade is now replaced with a very quick sidestep, and your alternate attack is now an immensely satisfying spinning slash that essentially turns you into a pinball of death. If the opportunity arises, you also have the devastating Heavenly Blade Dance combo that locks you into place for a quite flashy and very long flurry of attacks. New to Iceborne, the dual blades gain access to the Evade Shot, which fires whatever slinger ammo you have equipped and propels you a short distance through the air. This can be great for evasion, canceling out of attacks, or simply dealing damage, and its range can even be extended while in demon mode. Lastly, a new Clutch Claw attack can be performed mid-combo while in demon mode, which allows you to latch onto the monster or perform an aerial spinning slash downward. If you want to simply overpower every monster with sheer brutality and a flurry of attacks, instead of having to meticulously place each and every strike, the dual blades will do the best at making Monster Hunter feel the most like a traditional hyperspeed action game. The Switch Axe. The Switch Axe is a morphine weapon that allows you to seamlessly dance between its hard-hitting sword mode and long-reaching axe form. While in this axe mode, you gain access to many vertical and horizontal strikes that have some of the longest reach in the game for a melee weapon, while also being able to pull off the stamina-draining Wild Swing flail attack. At nearly any time, you can also combo straight into your powerful sword mode that can be charged up according to what file type your Switch Axe is, and this allows you to set up for the destructive elemental discharge. A new addition to Iceborne allows you to launch straight out of this attack into a claw grapple, allowing you to manually attach to the monster to deal that finishing hit. Although a decent new addition for your sword mode, the axe form gets the largest buff here in Iceborne. You can now perform a Slinger Burst evade while attacking, which is also a great way to cancel out of that Wild Swing combo. The axe also gets a brand new Fade Slash and Heavy Slam, which can now power up your axe mode for a time, gaining benefits according to your switch axe's file type. These changes give the switch axe some very useful new mobility options while also incentivizing you to use your axe mode more often and more efficiently. The switch axe is an overall great weapon if you prefer an all-out assault at all times, while being able to seamlessly switch back and forth between weapon forms according to the situation and distance from the monster. The hammer. The hammer is the headshot king of KOing monsters thanks to its destructive blunt damage and its ability to pre-charge your attacks while on the move. Although a very short-reaching weapon with not the largest bag of combos, the hammer's ability to charge up multiple entirely different attacks while moving makes up for its somewhat lacking reach. The first charge of this attack is a great combo starter, the second a forward lunging bash, and lastly at charge level 3, you can either perform a stationary charged smash or a moving spinning attack that can be finished off with a strong upward strike. Also, you can perform a power charge that will remain active until you are staggered or you sheath your weapon, which gives you a nice little boost to your attack and stun power. New to Iceborne, you can now delay your charge by firing a Slinger Burst anytime during it. This keeps your current charge level and allows you to deal out just a little more damage, but also buys you some time to hopefully line up that pleasant little gift you have for the monster's face. You also gain access to a new Clutch Claw attack during the second level charge or while performing a spinning aerial attack after sliding. If you want to be the KO king of your hunting party who opens up the monster for huge damage openings, assuming you're good at aiming at the head of course, you'll find the hammer to be a weapon that perfectly plays into your most barbaric sensibilities, which makes it an oddly satisfying weapon thanks to its raw brutish attack style. The bow. The bow is a destructive medium to close range weapon which can use a wide variety of arrow coatings and plays the perfect middle ground between the longer range bow guns and the melee weapons in the game. The bow can be charged while moving to increase your shot power and can be fired as a precise single arrow to nail the monster's weak spots or as a shotgun style spread to deal some raw damage while at close range. The arc shot allows you to call down a barrage onto the monster to deal some damage over time if they're relatively stationary, or onto your poor teammates who might find this move to be quite annoying as it tends to interrupt them. The bow also has a powerful dragon piercer that locks you into place to fire off a devastatingly huge hit if you find the opening to line up the shot. For Iceborne, the bow gets the brand new move called 1000 Dragons, which fires the entirety of your slinger ammo out in one large blast. The damage is dependent on which slinger ammo you have equipped, and this proves to be a great way to put all those little things you find scattered on the ground to better use. Overall, the bow allows you to inflict a wide range of status elements with its powerful coatings, and is a relatively quick ranged weapon that will be perfect for anyone wanting to play from medium distance. The Lance. The Lance is initially a very straightforward and somewhat low mobility weapon that once you break through its skill barrier actually reveals itself as the incredibly nuanced and insanely mobile weapon that it really is. Its moveset has many thrust style attacks, some of which are great for focusing weak spots on a monster, some are great for shuffling yourself around during a fight, and some can even be done with your shield raised when you're really feeling intimidated, or perhaps you just need to detonate a barrel. The leaping guard dash is an amazing tool to close a distance while also negating some oncoming attacks, which makes it great at continuing your assault uninterrupted. Also, the dash attack turns the lance into the unassuming fastest weapon in the game that allows you to wildly charge forward with little regard for what's in front of you, with a wide range of follow-ups coming out of this. The power guard block can be held to lessen or entirely negate most oncoming attacks, and is bolstered by a new power guard boost just added with Iceborne that allows for a brand new level of charge. This can be followed up with a strong counterattack, or cancelled into the brand new counter claw. This can also be done from the new guard shot stance that allows you to fire your slinger with your shield raised, and the counter claw proves to be a fun new way to grapple onto the monster by absorbing an oncoming attack. While the rest of the team is wasting time dodging attacks, reloading, charging files, and all that other nonsense, Lance users tend to be unaffected because it's a near impenetrable fortress of a weapon that allows you to hold your ground right up under the monster. The Insect Glaive. The Insect Glaive is essentially the Monster Hunter equivalent of a pogo stick that excels at mid-air combat and allows you to send out your Kinsect companion to gather various buffs for you. The basic moveset of the Insect Glaive offers a good variety of fast multi-hitting attacks on the ground, but the real fun starts when you start propelling yourself into the air with the Vault ability. This pretty much turns you into a devastating aerial nuisance, allowing you to string together combos while staying airborne. Your projectile Kinsect can be sent out to harvest buffs off of different regions of a monster's body, which will power you up with either the white essence buff to increase your speed, orange to improve your defenses, green to recover a small amount of health, or red which improves your damage and expands much of your moveset, and all these can be combined in various ways for further effects. If this already wasn't cool enough, your Kinsect also leaves behind small dust clouds depending on the type that you have equipped, which can be detonated to do things like apply poison or even heal you. New to Iceborne, the Insect Glaive gets 2 new mid-air options, allowing you to either grapple onto the monster with a new Clutch Claw attack, or to perform a downward thrust that will also mark a new location for your Kinsect to focus. Another addition is the new Kinsect buff that can be applied by consuming slinger ammo, which allows you to gather double essence at a time and will temporarily improve the effectiveness of your Kinsect according to which type of slinger ammo you consume. Overall, the Insect Glaive turns you into the ultimate over-the-top anime action hero. Is it kinda ridiculous? Well, yeah, but still the ideal way to play if you love aerial combat and have the patience to effectively micromanage your Kinsect during battle. The Heavy Bowgun. The Heavy Bowgun is exactly how it's described, a heavier duty version of the light bowgun that is far slower, hits harder, but most importantly, provides access to something almost akin to a super meter with its destructive Wyvern Snipe and Wyvern Heart ammo. Other than those 2 primary special ammo types dictated by which bowgun you choose, the Heavy Bowgun also gains access to a wide variety of traditional ammo that you can load up that allows you to inflict status ailments, heal teammates, and of course, blast everything in sight in a creative number of ways. Different heavy bowguns give you access to either the Wyvern Snipe or Wyvern Heart ammo like I just mentioned, with the former being one huge pinpointed blast, and the latter allowing you to go full Marcus Phoenix and lay into the monster with an incredibly satisfying barrage of gunfire. A few new weapon mods have been added with Iceborne that can buff up the repeated damage of your Wyvern Heart, or allow you to equip a brand new first-person range scope. This can be toggled on and off if you choose to aim down this scope, which gives you access to the new Super Critical Range modifier that rewards you with higher damage output if you hit from optimal distance according to which ammo type you have loaded up. This even applies to your Wyvern Snipe, which if aimed correctly, can deal the single highest damage hit possible from a ranged weapon. If you want to play from the longest possible distance in Monster Hunter and like the idea of laying down a volley of bullets from afar, the Heavy Bowgun will definitely not disappoint. The Long Sword. The Long Sword is an immensely flashy weapon that has huge sweeping attacks, evasive counters, and some truly epic finishers. Your standard moveset consists of wide horizontal swipes, straightforward stabs, and the ever-useful Fade Slash that allows you to adjust your position mid-combo. The ultimate goal of the Longsword, however, is building up your spirit gauge by landing regular strikes to then perform the Spirit Blade combo, which will raise your gauge to the next level, increasing your max damage if you land the very important final strike. This is not the only way to increase your spirit gauge, however, because you can also perform the Foresight Slash that acts as a counter that allows you to absorb an oncoming attack and deliver a follow-up slash that can increase your gauge if timed correctly. You can also perform a Spirit Thrust, which leads into the powerful downward slash called Helmbreaker. This will consume 1 level of your max spirit gauge, but if this attack lands, your meter will be buffed for a time, regenerating on its own, making it even easier to get back up to red level spirit gauge to perform another Helmbreaker, rinse and repeat. New to Iceborne, you can fire a Slinger Burst while attacking, which works quite well when performing the Spirit Blade combo, because you can use this to stall your attacks, which may just buy you enough time to line up that vital last hit. Also new is the Special Sheath that allows you to perform the 2 brand new moves, the EI Slash and the EI Spirit Slash. The EI Spirit Slash functions somewhat similar to the Foresight Slash, allowing you to absorb an oncoming hit to unleash a final blow of your own, but unlike the Foresight Slash, this attack will still play out regardless if timed correctly, but will consume a level of gauge if not used as a counter. The other option you have while in Special Sheath is the EI Slash, which can be used to give you the same regenerating spirit gauge buff gained from Helmbreaker, but now in a far easier to access way, which is an immense overall buff to this already potent weapon. In the end, the longsword gives you the perfect samurai playstyle in Monster Hunter with huge damage output, fun counter mechanics, and all the over-the-top animations you could ever hope for. The Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield is one of the most versatile and well-rounded weapons in Monster Hunter, allowing for a great degree of directional influence while attacking, allowing for easy course correction mid-combo. The Sword and Shield is also the only weapon in the game that allows you to use items with your weapon drawn, giving you an intuitive alternative if you find the constant sheathing of the other weapons to feel somewhat like a chore during battle. The sword primarily deals cut damage while attacking with it, and blunt damage when utilizing your shield strikes, along with slight mitigation of damage while blocking. The Sword and Shield can also perform a charged slash that sends you backwards for a moment, to then jump forward and launch yourself into the air to either attempt to mount the monster or just deal raw damage with a nice shield bash. New additions for the Sword and Shield gained in Iceborne are the Uppercut and Rush combo. The Uppercut uses your Clutch Claw to leap into the air, allowing you to quickly attach onto the monster. The Rush combo is a new advancing strike followed by a flurry of powerful attacks that get boosted by correctly timing each input of this combo, which yes, I am missing the timing here in my captured footage, but when done right, each attack will have a slight red glow telling you it was performed correctly. I encourage you to try out the Sword and Shield if you enjoy being able to turn on a dime to better adjust yourself while attacking, and the easy access to your items might be a vital benefit for some. And that covers all 14 of the weapon types available in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and hopefully this helped you save a little time or possibly some crafting materials by pinpointing the right weapon that suits your playstyle. There is honestly a staggering amount of nuance to each of these weapons, and I just barely scratched the surface on what is possible with each, but this should get you going on the general flow for every one. If you enjoyed the style of informative content I do here at Boomstick Gaming, consider subscribing, clicking that little bell icon if you already are, and following me on Twitter at BoomstickAlex. The YouTube member system and Patreon are also a great way to show you appreciate the work I put into my videos, just like these awesome supporters right here who greatly assist in perpetuating the future of my channel by helping to directly fund it. Lastly, we finally made it. I want to personally thank you for watching this all the way to the end. Happy hunting, and please send your condolences for this poor Bombaro that was our practice target for today's video.